We told you a moment ago that police in Belgium have arrested several people in connection with the Paris attacks. We want to go straight to Suzanne Lynch. She is a correspondent for the Irish Times. She is in Brussels. Suzanne, thanks for being with us. Tell us what you're seeing and what you're hearing.
Good evening. Well, I've just arrived to the scene. This is in an area called Molenbeek, which is a suburb of Brussels, but quite near the centre. It's only about 7 metro stops from the EU institutions. At the moment, a street has been sealed off. There's a heavy police presence. There are about 5 or 6 police vans, sniffer dogs, and heavily armed police here. Now, crowds have gathered to see what's happening. I've been talking to some locals. They've expressed real surprise about what's been happening here, but it appears that an arrest has been made here in this area in Molenbeek in the last few hours.
Suzanne, do you get a sense that there are still arrests ongoing or raids going on right now?
There is a lot of activity here. As I speak to you, I'm looking down the street, and about 30 yards forward are another set of police vans, if you like. So you've got 2 separate sets of police vans. Obviously, the incident is ongoing, if you like. There's a lot you can hear behind me, a lot of traffic, police sirens. But in another way, life is going on. I'm standing right beside a metro station, quite a central metro station. There are still trains going by here. There is a small Turkish shop here on the corner that's open, and just right beside, literally 2 metres from where the police are standing. But it's quite a nice area of Brussels, quiet residential street. But this has been the site of in the past. There has been not just arrests, but it's been seen as a source of jihadist activities. Back in January, when the Belgian police undertook counter-terrorism raids, this was one of the areas. It's quite a multicultural area. We were talking to people here from Morocco, from Turkish, this kind of ancestry that live in this area of Brussels. And
we just want to let our viewers know, Suzanne, we are showing our viewers right now pictures that you have posted on your Twitter feed. These are pictures of that neighborhood, Molenbeek. As you said, there has been in the past a history of terror ties to that particular neighborhood, including, as you just mentioned, in January of 2015, a police raid there. Also, back in 2014, the shooter of the Jewish Museum in Brussels had lived in that neighborhood after returning from Syria. You mentioned, Suzanne, that you were talking to people there. What are they saying about all of this activity? What are they saying to you?
Well, I was talking to four young men here in their early 20s, very well spoken. They're university students. They're from Moroccan and Turkish origin, but all born here in Belgium. Excellent English, and they were just pointing out to me, yards from where we're standing is a secondary school where these guys went to school. They expressed real shock about what's happened. They live nearby. They'll come down to have a look at what's happening. And they said it's a very safe area. They said they're very comfortable living here in Brussels. They're very integrated in Belgian society. I would say very articulate and very shocked at what's happening in their quite residential area here. So we're seeing a lot of the locals coming out in the streets to see what's happening. A lot of police presence, as we say. But I think people here, the overriding emotion here is kind of shock, quiet shock is the way I would describe it.
So given what you just said, Suzanne, that people are expressing shock, no one you've talked to yet, I know you've only been on the ground there for a short time, but in terms of the other history that we talked about, has anyone you've spoken with talked about any kind of jihadist activity, any extremist activity that they have encountered in the course of living there in that neighborhood?
Not so far, but it is definitely the case that back in January there were counter-terrorism raids in this area. This is an area, it's quite a wide area, 80,000, maybe 90,000 people, but this is an area that has been targeted by Belgian police in the past. In January there was about 13, 14 raids around Brussels, and this is one of the areas in which those raids took place. Another area is Schaerbeek in the east of the city. But as I say, it's quite central. It's very, very central, in fact. Just across the canal in west Brussels, very city centre. But it's quite a multicultural. As I look here, we see people from different origins, from Turkish, Moroccan origin. The shop on the corner here is called Istanbul Takeaway, for example. So it's very multicultural, very ethnic kind of area. But so far, people I've been speaking to have just expressed a kind of a quiet shock at what's happened here this afternoon.
And Suzanne, before we let you go, I'm just wondering, what are police telling you? Are they giving you additional information? How is it that they are getting information to reporters like yourself?
It's a very tense situation here with police. Police have declined to talk to the media. They've been keeping the media quite a way back from the activity here. Now, we are due to hear, we think, from police authorities here with a scheduled press conference this evening. That's what we're hearing. So that is probably the next time we're going to get some substantive explanations about exactly what went on here this afternoon.
All right. Suzanne Lynch, a correspondent with the Irish Times. Suzanne is there in the neighborhood in Brussels, Belgium, where police have arrested several people linked to the Paris attack. Suzanne, we thank you very much for that report. More news for you in 90 seconds. You're watching CBSN.